Excellent. All right, so I've tried to soundproof this place, but you might have to edit out a dog bark.
Let's get Stella up on the show. Where is she? Hey,
There's
Stella. We...
Stella, come here. Hello, everybody. My name is Tess Taylor. I'm the president of the National Association of Record Industry Professionals, and I'm about to have a chat with Spoon.
I would love for you to share 3 top tips for emerging talent and for those who are trying to make it work long term, specifically.
The first one, right hits. A hit changes everything.
Right
Okay?
hits.
I know that sounds glib and it's easier said than done, but I don't think people put enough work into the writing of songs, the structure, the melody, the lyrics. You can study success and you can learn from it. Not everyone may have that capability, but take the stuff that you have and make it better.
I want to please hear your other 2 points and then we'll sort of delve a bit deeper.
Okay, so the first one is right hits. The second one is pace yourself. The Grammys with Chance the Rapper, who just won. Now, Chance won Best New Artist, which is fantastic. And I have a little bit of the backstory on him because I'm close to some people who work with him. And if I had one piece of advice for him right now, it would be to pace himself. But this is important for an artist in the beginning of his career as it is for someone who's just won a truckload of awards, as he did. It comes down to having a goal and a plan. And that would be my third tip, a goal and a plan to reach it. Most people don't plan at all, or they plan very poorly. And then there are those who say, you plan and God laughs, which is also true. And I say, okay, but I reject all of that because if you do have a plan, you're going to be much better off and much more likely to hit it. If you don't know what the target is, how are you going to hit it? I'm going to give you a fourth one. Surround yourself with winners. Get yourself a team. That doesn't just mean a manager and producer, although they are part of it. Friends and family, people who can support you, who can not just financially, but emotionally and in other ways, because it's a tough haul when you're an artist, a solitary, independent artist trying to make it. It's a lot of work. Much of what you will hear is no or nothing at all, no response. You can start meeting the right people today by going to networking events, reading, attending seminars and panel discussions, workshops. You want to identify the people whom you want on your team and bring them into your orbit or go into their orbit.
I'd like to return to that whole thing about writing a hit. A lot of people watching this will know I've had a #1 record. I've been a part of a #1 selling project. And we know that it's more than just writing a great song. It's more than just following the trends and putting things like a jigsaw puzzle in terms of the creative process into the right place. Like you said, it's about your team, the marketing. What else needs to be in place, in your opinion, to make a hit song a hit song?
Well, people have to respond to it, and people have to like it and want to hear it. And that can be any number of things. There are songs with great and profound lyrics, and then there are songs with nonsense lyrics, and then there are songs with no lyrics. And then you have the classics. You have George Gershwin, you have Beethoven, you have the Beatles, you have David Bowie. You have all kinds of music that people request and buy and listen to again and again and again. What are those elements that make it a hit? I think it's important to study that. And at its rock bottom, I believe that music is a form of communication, and we listen to things that we enjoy and that we can relate to and that we believe relate to us. In a way, it's a conversation. When I think of my favorite songs that I put on, it's stuff that moves me very, very deeply, and it's worth getting up and finding that CD or going through a playlist and identifying it and finding it because it means so much to me. Once you have a hit, lots of things change, but certainly you need the mechanism and the framework in order to really exploit it. You want it to be available on as many platforms as possible. You want to have a store on your website. You want to be able to monetize it. You want to be ready to start touring, but probably if you're doing things in the normal order, you will be touring already when your song becomes a hit. And then you'll simply start to tour more. The single most attractive thing to any label or publisher or agent or big person in the business who can move you from point A to point B is a live audience that's going nuts over your music. That's something that you can't fake. You can't fake that on social media. You can't fake that at all. So this is something that I recommend to artists is really make sure your live show is something worth attending and that you get people crazy with your music. You can look at some of the greats, some of the people who really understood spectacle and performance and making people feel special that they're there and causing people to spend a lot of money on tickets and on merchandise on the way out. Michael Jackson, what a show. What a showman. Prince, what a show. What a showman. David Bowie, I'm sorry to cite three artists who are dead and so sorry that they're gone because these three guys were tremendous in the way that they were able to put on the show. They're not the only ones, of course. I really admire Taylor Swift because she took training from a fellow in not just stage performance, but interaction with her audience, which I think is really important and meaningful. I go to shows sometimes, not so much anymore because I'm not interested in standing in lines and, driving across town in traffic and having beer spilled on me. But so many independent artist shows that I attend or have attended recently are they're just, they don't put on any kind of show. Why on earth would I drive across town, have beer spilled on me, and stand somewhere for 3 hours if you're just going to stand there in jeans and a t-shirt and sing exactly what I could hear on a CD or stream at home? Why would I do that? Well, I'm looking for some kind of interaction, something that's more meaningful than putting on music on my stereo at home. So if you can't do that, then you're not ready really for the stage, in my opinion. You have to put something together that's worth going to see, that's worth paying $10 or £10 or €10 to see, or 20 or 30 or whatever it is. And so many people are so insular in their thinking. Artistically, they think if they show up and perform and they're pouring out their hearts, that that's enough. Well, every once in a while it is, but it's not just about you as the artist, it's about your audience. It's like having a good conversation spoon when one person is doing all the talking, like me right now, and the other person is just waiting for you to shut up so they can get in a word edgewise. That's not really a conversation, that's a monologue with brief interruptions, okay? So as an artist, you want to have a dialogue. You want to communicate with your fans. You want to make sure that you're expressing something that's meaningful to them and hopefully globally. And we see that in hits.
The other thing I wanted to talk about was your music supervision sessions. I've attended a few because publishing and getting a synchronization situation happening is how people are also creating the exposure they need and the connection they need to then catapult themselves and get that springboard with the rest of their material. So how important would you say the whole sync licensing thing is right now?
Well, it's very important, but it's just one piece of the puzzle. And if you don't have other pieces lined up, then it's one piece in isolation. And this goes back to having a plan, in my opinion, being such an important thing that folks don't really consider strongly enough. I like to give people a one-page marketing plan, get all of their ideas together, understand what their goals are. It can be a 20-page document, but you basically boil it down to three things. Your plan, and in the case of an artist or marketing plan, is three important components. What's your goal, what's your timeline, and what's your budget? That's three things. Goal, timeline, budget. What are you trying to accomplish over what period of time and with how much money? Even if your budget is zero, which will mean that you have to spend more time and probably do everything yourself, that's fine. But what's your goal, your timeline, and your budget? And if placements can help you achieve that goal, or if placements or synchronizations are a goal in and of themselves, then great. Then from there you plan, well, where does my music fit best? Is it EDM? Is it Britpop? Where do I fit? And then you start to find the shows and the movies and the films and the projects and the video games and the ads that use music with your flavor, your genre, and your tone. I always say to people, when you're pitching music, you have to be a salesperson. And the first thing of sales, the first rule of sales is, what does the person need to whom you're selling? It's not about you, Spoon, and your music and how great it is. It's what do they need? And if they need what you don't have, forget it. There was an interview I read with the sister of Mark Zuckerberg, the guy who founded Facebook. And she said she was a successful career woman in her own right. And she said something that I thought was really, really good, really key, and something that I've remembered. That you can have 3 of the 5 things, the following 5 things, at any one time in your life, but you can't have more than 3. You can have friends, family, fitness, work, sleep. Choose your top 3. Okay? Friends, family, fitness, work, or sleep. And she makes a very good point, because I've noticed at times in my career, when one thing is going really well, I'm neglecting something else. And then you have to get that other plate back in the air before it crashes. Yeah. And this is all a lesson in time management, which is so important, that how you manage your time. Do you put off the car repairs until your car breaks down on the freeway, and then you have a major emergency and expense? Do you put off the tending to your relationships with loved ones until your wife comes in and hands you a divorce, or your kid, out of lack of your attention, gets into some big trouble that's irreversible? That's failure to manage your time and your relationships. And that has to be carried into your career as well. Handling your financial commitments as best you can, working toward your goals in a steady and unstoppable fashion, pacing yourself. You do as much as you can, you do the best that you can, and then you go to sleep at night and you wake up the next day and then you do more.
You make such a valid point about, just balancing and looking after your health as a priority, because you can't do anything else if you're not healthy.
No, you can't. And when you have your health, you are a billionaire. And I could give you a list as long as your arm, many, 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 many people long, of folks who have traded their health for fame and fortune and success and lived to regret it, because once your health is gone, you can't really get it back.
So the last thing I'll ask you is just about NARIP. I want you to tell us about this organization and the great work you've been doing.
Why, thank you, Spoon. It's nice to have a fan. So the National Association of Record Industry Professionals is an organization that I started to help people advance and to advance myself. There wasn't one like it when I was looking around in the business, so I formed one myself, not realizing that it would eventually become as large an organization or a business. So NARIP promotes career advancement, education, and goodwill among music and record industry professionals. Once the music has been made, then you come to NARIP. So we don't do songwriter circles and things like that. Once your music is made and it's in hand, you have a product, NARIP will help you network, market, license, exploit the music, connect you with people who can help you do that. That's what NARIP is all about. Folks can go to narip.com and learn more about it. And since you referenced the pitch sessions which you've attended, Spoon, those have been a particularly successful component of our programming, because they take the guesswork out of pitching to super busy people. It's the only way, according to one great article written by Ari Herstand, to guarantee that your music will be listened to by a top music supervisor. It happens live at our sessions. You provide tracks, they listen to them. You're pitching on a brief. They tell you on the spot, this works or this doesn't. It's to this, it's not enough that. Could you change this? And you can then rework the track to their precise specifications, and that is why we have close to 700 placements to date now, including for a number of our NARIP members in London, including Sharon Dean, who's our executive director in London, and a number of other people there. So the sessions are a great way to meet face-to-face with some tremendous career makers, I'll call them, and to really understand how it is they do their jobs. Failure to understand fundamentally what a sale is and how to make a sale, even when it's you selling yourself and your music, is to me a big failing in many, many, many people. It's not just artists. People don't understand how to do that in the marketplace today. When they're looking for work, when they're looking for jobs, they don't understand how to pitch themselves. They don't understand the sales equation and the negotiation equation. That's really, really key. And I understand it pretty well because I was initially very uncomfortable with the idea of selling myself and what I do. I thought it was rude. I thought it was pushy. I thought it was, you don't talk about money. Money is, we don't want to dirty our hands with talk of money. But that's foolish because it's business. You're licensing a product, you're licensing music. If you want to make a living out of this, if you want to be a professional, then you have to compete in a professional arena. And that means understanding money, licensing, negotiation, deals, deal making, all of that sort of thing, and understanding your rights, how to protect them, how to exploit them, and how to monetize them, and how to build value.
A lot of useful tips for everyone.
I'm very grateful for the time and the support, Spoon. I will be in London again soon. And I hope folks listening and watching have found this useful.
Thank you very much.